Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Elimination Techniques course 2024. Especially in this course, I'll be focusing more on a concept called examiner mindset, which is a very important concept every student who is writing prelims has to understand. Not only just UPSC, any other prelims you are giving, any other objective type based tests you are taking or exams you are writing, definitely this examiner mindset is a very, very important concept which every student has to know. So today I will be discussing more about this examiner mindset. What is this mindset? Why the questions are asked in the way they are asked in the exam. So we will focus more on that topic. Okay. I'll give you a few examples from UPSC exam itself. Most of the questions which I included, in fact, all the questions which I have included in this present slides are UPSC questions. Okay. So they are your PYQs. They are your previous year questions. So let's start the class. First, let's discuss. Let's start with a very important quote, which is very relevant to your prelims exam. See, one thing when you attend, when you are writing prelims, the most important, like in that part, in the 2 hours. Okay, in the 2 hours, what you generally happen is there is some fear in the students. Okay, so I think you can relate to that. Definitely there is fear because you may not know what questions come in the exam. You read lot of content and sometimes it happens that first 10 questions or even 15 questions also sometimes you may not know. Okay, or first 5 questions you may not know, or first 10 questions you may not know. So this happens. Okay, so how to handle this pressure and all. So very important quote which is related to your prelims is this. So strategy is born when a calculated risk meets an educated guess. So for this prelims especially, you need to have a strategy. First of all, you need to have a strategy. Without strategy, you should not go for prelims because there are only 2 hours in the exam. And nowadays, can I say, time factor has become very important in our exam in prelims. Can I say that? It's not about 2014 or 15 exam. After 2017, okay, the time factor has become very, very, very important in the exam. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There are a lot of students who could not complete the paper. So time factor is very important, has become very important. So for that, you need a strategy. Okay, because again, from 2017, 18, 19, and till recently 2023, there are a lot of questions in the exam which you may not know. You may not know some of the questions. Okay, not some. In fact, if you are seeing topper talks, most of the toppers are they saying that they were able to answer 30 to 40 questions. Okay, then what about the rest 60 questions? What about the rest 60 questions? Do you have a strategy to address this 60 questions? So that is why this strategy is important. And the strategy is what? How to handle these 60 questions? You need to have some, you have to take some calculated risk and it has to meet your educated guess. Then only you can be bit successful in this 60 questions. If you go by blind guessing to this exam, okay, trust me, lot of questions you will not be able to answer in the exam. Even if you answer, you may go wrong in the exam. So most important is you have to have a strategy. In that strategy, what should be there? You need to take some calculated risk and it should meet that your educated guess. Then yes, there is high probability that there may be some success for you in the exam. So this is what I wanted to teach you with today's demo class. Okay, what the strategy should be. Okay, what are this calculated risk you need to take? What, how to meet that educated guess. Okay, so these things I'll discuss today. So let's start with a simple, very important part of your prelims. That is your hurdles in prelims. Because you are attending this class means definitely there are certain hurdles for you for this prelims. And these hurdles, first important thing, I'll start with unknown questions. Because this is one very important. Even if you read all the material given by your institute, your coaching institute, or whatever material you're reading, still I say there will be 50 questions which you may not be able to answer directly in the exam. There will be literally 50 questions. you may not be able to answer in the exam. Yes, you may have some content on those questions, but still you may not be 100% sure on these questions. So such questions, at least there will be 50 questions. Not only in the UPSC, I think in most of the exams also, you will feel this. Okay. So again, most important nowadays, especially in UPSC, time management has become a very important thing or important issue. And how, like, these strategies also, what I'm talking about is going to help you in time management. Yeah. Next, unable to choose between two options. Like finally, yes, you have some content, you are able to eliminate two options and you are stuck with two options. And how to select between this, again, that also I will teach you in the class. Next, finally, blind guessing. Blind guessing you should not do in this exam. Always it has to be a calculated risk. It has to be educated guess. What are things? What are these things? How are you going to do? I'll explain in the class. Next, lack of understanding of the exam. This is also most important thing. Lack of understanding of the exam. What I have seen, like for example, when I was in Delhi, I have seen a student carrying a science and technology book, which is of almost 400 pages. Do you really think for this exam you need to read those 400 pages of science and tech book which market has released? So that again, you are not understanding this exam. Okay, if you are reading those 400 pages of science and tech, you are not understanding this exam. So these mistakes you should not do. I am going to help you in this as well. Okay, so what exactly to read, what to avoid, okay, where to focus, those things also. I'll give you a few examples today. Later I will be discussing in the classes. I will be discussing what exactly you need to do. Next, reading everything under the sun is one. This is also same thing. You are trying to read everything under the sun. Again, this is also will not work in UPSC especially. Okay, you should not read everything under the sun for this exam. Okay, that also I'll tell you why this does not work for UPSC. Also, I'll discuss in the class. So attend the entire class. So let's start with some important things. So first thing is what is examiner mindset? This is what I wanted to teach you. What is examiner mindset? So I'll give you some examples, don't worry. So first thing, basic thing, what is examiner mindset? Understanding the logic behind creating the questions and statements. Always remember, when examiner creates a question, there is definitely a logic or there is definitely some mindset behind that preparing that question. Okay, they are following a particular mindset in creating the questions, and same mindset is being followed in your PYQs as well, especially in the statements. Okay, and if you master this, you can read the mind of the examiner and correctly mark many questions in the prelims. So how to master this? This is where we come. This is where Umbrella Academy will help you to master this examiner mindset. So before that, I want to explain more about this. What is examiner mindset? So how does an examiner think? For example, let us say I have given you a question. So as you have seen some content in current affairs, let us say. Now, if UPSC has asked you to create a question on that content, what are the chances that you will give all the statements as simple, very plain statements? What are the chances? What are the probability that you will give all the statements are simple and plain? Are chances high or less? For example, at a scale of 1 to 10, okay, if I ask you, will you twist the statements? Definitely yes or no. If some content has been given to you, okay, let us say recently Global River Alliance question is very important for recent exams. Okay, so in that, don't you think you will try to change something in Global River Alliance? Definitely, you are going to change certain things in this. For example, these twisted statements, I am going to call them as non-plain statements. Non-plain statements. I'll give you one example. Let us say hydrogen CNG reduces carbon dioxide emissions. Hydrogen CNG reduces carbon dioxide emissions. Is this a very plain statement? Can I say? There is some technology which says that it reduces carbon dioxide emissions. It's a very plain statement. Now, UPSC has asked you to create a question because in current affairs there is hydrogen CNG. Let us say in current affairs there is hydrogen CNG. Now UPSC has asked you to create a statement. Definitely you are examiner and you don't want to give generally plain statements. You want to twist the statements. Now tell me, how will you twist the statement? This is there in current affairs. In current affairs, hydrogen CNG reduces CO2 emissions is there. But your examiner, UPSC has asked you to create a question. Okay, how are you going to change this statement to a twisted statement, or I will call it non-plain statement. I'll call it non-plain statement. How are you going to change it? Simple. You can replace this reduce by, you can say eliminates. Eliminates is keyword used many times by UPSC. So these type of keywords, there are a lot of keywords which I am going to teach you in the exam. By seeing that keywords, at least you will easily identify this statement is a plain statement, or this statement is a twisted statement, or this statement is a not plain statement. This is what you will get through this course. Okay, these type of statements, these type of words are there, how they are going to change. For example, here, private and public hospitals voluntary can adopt it. Okay, for example, this statement I have taken from what is that scheme which was the digital mission, Atal, sorry, there was a digital plan, right? Ayushman, yes, very good. Ayushman Bharat digital mission. Ayushman Bharat digital mission. Ayushman Bharat digital mission is there. From this, I have taken a statement. Ayushman Bharat digital mission, like it is saying that private and public hospitals voluntarily can adopt it. Now here, generally these statements, voluntary keyword is generally a plain keyword. Okay. Now how will the examiner twist it? Private and public hospitals? Yes, very good. Mandatorily should adopt it. Private and public hospitals must adopt it. Okay. So these type of statements they try to create. Okay. Now here, monoxide occurs naturally in Indian coastal sands. Again, this is a very, very plain statement. Monoxides occur naturally in Indian coastal sand. But again, to twist it, to create not plain, how they are going to twist it? Monoxides occur, yes, everywhere. They will say that it occurs every coastal state, or they'll say in all coastal sand, something like that. Okay. So here, this is how they are trying to give you plain and not plain statements. And in this exam, if you understand what is plain, what is not plain, trust me, a lot of questions you can easily handle in this exam. Okay. For example, tell me here, the main advantage of use of hydrogen CNG is elimination of carbon monoxide emissions. Is it plain or not plain? The main advantage of use of hydrogen CNG is elimination of carbon monoxide. Definitely, it is not plain statement. For example, here, private and public hospitals must adopt it. Again, it is saying that mandatorily private and public hospitals must adopt it. According to our previous year questions knowledge, again, this statement also will become not plain. And learning not plain is very, very, very important for this exam. Again, as it aims to achieve universal health coverage, every citizen of India should be part of it ultimately. Again, this is also kind of not plain. So once you learn this not plain statements, okay, slowly, you will understand how to handle the questions in the exam. Okay, so here again, monazite occurs naturally in the entire Indian coastal sands. Monazite occurs naturally in the entire Indian coastal sand. Again, this also becomes not plain. But what about this statement? Here only is there. Again, I have seen some students just by seeing only, they start eliminating the statements. Do not do that. Okay, there is something for only. You have to understand when only is wrong, when only is not wrong. That also I'll be teaching you in the class. Okay, why only is wrong in some circumstances, and why only is not wrong in some circumstances. Okay. So that anyways I'll teach you in that, but because that requires a bit good examples and all, with that I'll make you understand how to handle only in the exam. Next, here again, this is a 2023 question. So tell me here, do you find any non-plain statement? Carbon fibers are used in manufacture of components used in automobiles and aircrafts. Again, it's a very simple, plain statement. We'll not overthink on this. Overthinking, again, you have to address in this exam. If you do not address overthinking in the exam, you will not be able to clear the exam. So that aspect also we will try to deal in the class. How not to overthink in the exam. So here again, used cannot be recycled. This becomes a not plain statement. Again, we'll see some 2023 questions itself, okay, where we can apply these things. Because not plain means it's not just about keywords. Okay, not plain means it's not just about keywords. For example, let us say in not plain, I will say there are, yes, keywords are there, which I will be teaching you. Which type of keywords generally become not plain? Which type of institutions and organization questions become not plain? I'll be teaching you this as well. And how illogical statements they try to create and how they become not plain, I'll teach you. How are facts not plain in this exam? That also I'm going to teach you. Next, because of factual numericals, how to handle this factual numericals. This is also very, very important. This also I'm going to teach you in the class, how to handle factual numericals and why factual numericals are again not plain. Next, there are application restriction statements. This is also a very important topic or very important examiner mindset. With this, easily you can handle some difficult questions in the exam. Why application restriction statements are also not plain. I'm going to teach you all these things. But now, let me just give you some just few examples from 2023 itself. Like for example, here self-help groups program was originally initiated by State Bank of India. Here it is initiated by some institutions and all. This automatically will become not plain. Okay. Rest of the things I'll tell you in the class. I will explain how to deal with all also. When is all right and when is all wrong? This is a very important thing you need to learn. But again, this requires some questions for explanation and all. This I'll be teaching you in the class. Next, here, which are not plain statements? Tell me. This is also 2023 question. Which are not plain statements? None of them uses seawater. None of them uses seawater. Again, this becomes definitely not plain. None of them is set up in water stress district. Again, this becomes not plain. Again, none of them is privately owned. This also becomes not plain. Okay. So what you have to do is simple exercise. I'll tell you. You just take PYQs after the class. You just take PYQs and do only simple one exercise. Just write, is that statement plain? Is that statement not plain? Later, how to select an option, I'll teach you later. Okay. But first important thing for every student is to understand in any exam. In any exam, you're writing PCS exams, you're writing UPSC exam. This thinking first you need to develop for the exam. Again, you may not be successful for every question, but I'll tell you your probability of your probability of marking correct options is going to definitely increase in most of the exams. For example, here also tell me which is a not plain statement. Do not worry about the answer of the question, okay? Because the reality of the exam is you do not know answers of some of the questions in the exam. So do not worry. Just think in these terms, plain or not plain, that's it. So simply if I ask you here, yes, recently United States and European Union has launched this thing, Trade and Technology Council. This becomes a very factual statement, and factual statements generally become not plain in the exam. So we have seen some keyword statements which are not plain. We are seeing some factual statements being not plain. We are seeing some institution statements being not plain. And then here also see this also, this content is not easy. Can I say that? In the exam, knowing about Switzerland and knowing about what is the exports of gold, can I say this is not easy or not easy to read? So this content is not as such, may not you may not be like reading this in the current affairs, but still this question is the easiest question with this examiner mindset. Like here, tell me which is a more factual statement. In 1 and 2, which is a more factual statement? Very good. Switzerland has the second largest gold reserves. These are called factual ranking statements. Factual ranking. They say that second largest, they give you third largest, they give you fifth largest. All these are factual ranking statements. Mostly these are not plain statements in the exam. Okay, mostly these are not plain statements in the exam. And what about this one of the? I'll tell you later. Okay, for now, you just write this as not plain. Okay, so in this way, there are a lot of not plain statements you need to understand. In the class, I'm going to teach you all these not plain statements. What are not plain statements? How to identify these not plain statements? How to prioritize in elimination of not plain statements also is very, 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 very important. It is not that every not plain statement will be wrong in the exam. Again, remember, it is not that just you're writing not plain and just eliminating. No, you have to understand there are some differences in not plain statements also, but that again requires deep understanding, that which I will be explaining in the class. Okay, for now I'm focusing only on the basic concepts which are required for you. Next, coming to application restriction statement, these are a very important concept to understand and a very easy question to apply in the exam also. Why? Simply I'll tell you. For example, this question is there. This is a 2020 question. Most of the institutes have given a different answer for this, but according to the examiner mindset, I said that the answer of this question I have given before the key was released itself. Okay, why I have given that particular answer, I will tell you. But tell me here, what is application and what is restriction? You have to always understand in this exam, because UPSC examiner thinks in this way. So this thinking you need to have. What is application and what is restriction? So tell me in this, solar power can be used for running surface pumps. What is the statement called? Don't go by but and not. No, don't go by but and not, and that is not important here. You need to understand application and restriction. Okay, because we don't just go by words, we go by thinking. Okay, we go by mindset. So solar power can be used for running surface pumps. For example, I will not give you this statement at all. I'll not give you this second statement. Tell me, solar power can be used for running surface pump. Is this right? Right statement? Can I say it is very plain statement? Can I say it's application statement? Definitely, we can say it is an application statement. Then, if you see the second statement, solar power can be used for running surface pumps and not for submersible pumps. What is this called? What is the second statement called? First statement is application. What is the second statement called? This second statement is called restriction. This second statement is called restriction, especially in applications type of statements. Wherever you see restriction, those statements are basically not plain statements. So now tell me in this question, how many application restriction statements are there? Very good. Both are application restriction statements, because here is A and here is R. And here also solar power can be used for running centrifugal pumps. This is A, and not the ones with piston. This is R. So AR statements, remember, AR statements are what? They are generally right in the exam or generally wrong in the exam. Application restriction statements are generally wrong in the exam. So here answer will be neither one, no. So this is how you need to analyze. This is how you need to learn things for the exam. Now tell me here, this is a 2023 question. Again here, function of accelerometer they are asking. Function. Function means again it is, can I say application? Can I say application? Definitely yes. Is there any AR statement in this question? Find out, is there any AR? If there is no AR, then what is the answer? If there is no AR statement, then what is the answer? The answer will be all three. If there is an error, yes, you eliminate the error. Accordingly, you answer the question. So application restriction and application questions 2024, at least there will be 2 to 3 questions on applications. And if you have this idea, because what I have observed in the PYQs is there are only two aspects for application questions. Either they give you application or they give you application restriction. Only these two types of things they are using. And if you understand this application and application restriction, I think at least 2 3 questions without content also you may answer in the exam. So that again, I'll give you good examples in the class to understand these things. Again, here also some students last time what they thought, like here again going by words. I told you do not go by words, go by mindset. That is the reason I say. So in this question, what did some students did is they eliminated statement 1. Again, tell me, do you think statement 1 is an application restriction statement or it's application? Because again, this question is application question. This question is hydrogen, green hydrogen application question. It is not a extreme statement. Some students just by seeing the words they have eliminated the statement. Do not do that. You need to understand the entire mindset of the examiner while creating this question. Then only you will be able to answer the questions. So it can be used directly as a fuel. Yes, because a lot of fuels can be directly used in internal combustion. Already, can I say this type of statement is given already in the exam? For some other questions, like for example, if you remember biogasification question. Do you remember this question? Previous year biogasification UPSC question. In that also they said that it can be used in IC engines. If you remember, it can be used in IC engines. Okay, so actually in that statement what they have given is it cannot be used in IC engine, something like that they have given. So if you understand the PYQs, this question was very easy for you. Again, here there is no application restriction statement at all. So that is the reason. What will be the answer of this question? The answer of this question will be again all three. So understand the mindset. You will not go wrong in the exam. Next, let's see few examples of some numerical question, because numericals nowadays they are asking. So what I taught last year also has actually helped the students. So I taught something called basic numerical, factual numerical to the students, and in some of the questions it has actually helped them last year. So now let us see what is basic numerical, what is factual numerical. So before seeing this question, let us move to this question to understand first basic numerical and factual numerical. Okay. For example, here there are two numericals, 1600 calories and 18 years. First of all, generally in India, when we implement some scheme, generally what is the age we take? For example, pension schemes are there, or for example, national food security schemes are there. So they have given some 18 years. Is 18 years a very factual numerical or a basic numerical, considering our knowledge about the schemes of India? So there are sometimes very basic numericals given. So do not overthink on those basic numericals in the exam. They are very basic because we know that they are being used in other schemes and all. So we have some idea there. Now, which is more factual numerical here? Which is more factual numerical here? 1600 or 18? Because again, see, 1600, definitely we do not know. It could be 1600, it could be 1500, it could be 2200, it could be 2000. So these are called factual numericals, and factual numericals are generally wrong in the exam. It has no basis. That is what I'm saying. If some basis is there, yes, you go with it, no issue at all. But some numericals will be there which are very factual, which have no basis at all. Those are factual numericals and which we can easily eliminate. And whenever two numericals are given in the exam, always remember there will be a principle called one right, one wrong principle, which I will teach you in the class. One right, one. Generally, this happens. You can take all the PYQs, you can see. Generally, whenever they have given two numericals in any question like this, okay, generally one numerical may be right and other may be wrong. This principle you will understand in the class. In the second day class, I'm going to teach these things. Anyways, now tell me here 3.2, is it factual numerical or basic numerical? Definitely it is a factual, because no basic. How can you say 3.2? It could be 3, 3.2, 2, 5, 6, anything it could be. Okay, so these are called factual numericals. Do not believe in factual numericals. Easily you can eliminate. And here also tell me this 60%. All these are 2023 questions. 60%, is it factual numerical or basic numerical? Right? Definitely it is a fact, because again no basis. You cannot say we do not know exactly how much percentage this uranium requires. Again, this is also a factual numerical, and if you do not know the content, you try to eliminate these type of factual numericals in the exam. And these type of questions I'm going to teach you in the exam. Same thing in 2023, this question has been asked. Again, there are two numericals here, 600, 400 and 3:2, which is a kind of basic one. We know that flag is in this way, which is a basic numerical here. The basic numerical is 3:2. Just select this, just eliminate this, because when two numericals are given, one right, one wrong principle applies. And last year students have applied this and they have got right marks. Okay, so this is about numericals. Rest we will see some other plain statements, because I want students to learn what is plain first of all. If you do not understand plain, this exam will be very, very, very difficult for you, because nowadays questions from where they are asking, or the type of questions content they are asking, we do not know. They are asking any content. But one thing is common in this exam is this thinking. Okay, this examiner mindset is common in this exam. This plain mindset, this not plain mindset, this broad mindset, narrow mindset. There are these type of mindsets which are required for you in any exam. Okay, so if you understand that, let them ask any question, you will be able to handle the question in the exam. Again, I am not saying 100 questions you will be able to answer. If I say that, I will be wrong. Okay, all the 100 questions you may not be able to do that. But the only thing I say, same thing I told you, strategy. Do you have a strategy? Do you have any strategy? You should have some strategy to address the questions which you are not able to answer in the exam. So that is what we are going to learn from here. Fine. So what is plain? Generally, tell me some synonyms of plain. What do you understand by plain word? Simple, less facts, very good. Bookish, very general statement. Logical statement, very good. Clear, yes. Application, very good, very good. Application, just application is there. They are also very plain statements. Ordinary statements, yes. So these type of things are called plain. So here you can see simple or basic, clear, reasonable, straightforward, ordinary, absolute. Means absolute in the sense, if it is a absolute truth, something like that. Okay, so complete, not vague, natural, possible, verbatim. Okay, these are called your plain statements, and this is what you are going to practice after the class. You take PYQs, you understand what is plain, what is not plain. So how do you feel? Are you feeling it is simple, it is clear, it is reasonable, it is logical, it is ordinary? This is what you have to write after the statements. Okay, if you do this exercise, definitely I'm saying you will improve 15 to 20 marks in this exam. Definitely. Just by doing this simple exercise. So for example, here, a very important concept I'll explain now, because generally plain, yes, I know, you will get simple statements anyways, you will able to attempt. But this concept I'll explain. Okay, this is a very important concept, and I am seeing every year it is being asked. So I think this is going to help you a lot in the exam. For example, last year also I gave this concept, and in fact, in 2023, students have applied this concept in the exam. For example, let us say I'm going to talk about statement 2 here. You don't know anything about this global compact, let us say. So the objective and commitments stated in the global compact are binding on UN member countries. So when binding keyword becomes plain, and when binding keywords become not plain, this is what you have to learn in the exam. This is going to help you a lot in the exam. When binding keyword becomes plain, and when binding keyword becomes not plain. Okay, so I'll give you some examples. For example, this question is about compact. Remember, compacts are generally binding or not binding. This concept you have to know first of all. Okay, compacts are generally binding or not binding. So before that, I'll ask you a few things. Now, There is a word called alliance, let us say. There is a word called alliance. In the question, there is alliance, and in the options, there is binding word. The option says that, the statement says that this particular alliance is binding. Is it a plain statement or not plain statement? Are generally alliances binding? Whatever alliances they take some objectives or aims, are generally alliances binding? This is what you need to understand for this exam. So generally remember, alliances are not binding. Whatever they take, generally they are not binding. Coalitions, coalitions, like some climate clean air coalition is there. Climate clean air coalition in 2024, let us say they asked you, and in one of the options they are saying that the commitments are binding on member states. Is it right statement or wrong statement? The question is about coalition, and the statement says that the commitments are binding on the members. Okay. So remember, alliance are not binding. Declarations, declarations, are they binding? Declarations are again not binding. Declarations are not binding. Alliance are not binding. Compacts are not binding. Last year only we discussed these things. Okay. Now, then what are binding? That is what you have to understand. What are binding? There are only few things. Even frameworks are also not binding. Framework agreement is there, they are binding, but simple framework keyword is there, they are also not binding. Okay, simple framework, some framework keyword is given, they are not binding. For example, recently in current affairs, there is a framework. Very important question for 2024, and I am expecting that question. And exactly I am expecting what statement will be asked in the question also. And that statement, binding statement, is going to be asked in your exam. So what is that framework which is in news? A very important framework. Very good. It is Conving Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Now, let us say in 2024 exam, you are giving the prelims, and one question is going to be on Conving Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, and one of the statement is going to say Conving Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework is binding on the members. Now tell me what will be your answer? If I say is binding on the members, Conving Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework is binding on the members. Yes or no? See again, I'm not saying anything. I just gave you framework. I did not say agreement or anything. I did not say. Just framework is given. Again, I'm telling you, it is generally not binding. Okay, just framework, not binding. Framework agreement, it may be binding. Okay, framework agreement, it may be binding. So what are binding generally? Treaties and conventions are binding. For example, here declaration is given. Declarations are binding or not binding? This is a very difficult question in the exam if you do not know these concepts. Treaties, declarations are binding or not binding? Declarations are not binding. Then what about this statement? Is it plain or not plain? It is legally binding. So this becomes not plain. Okay. And once you do this, these questions will become very easy to answer in the exam. And here tell me, UNCAC, United Nations conventions, treaties, are they binding or not binding? Conventions and treaties. Remember, whenever you see the word convention or treaties, they are mostly, in fact, they are 99% binding. Okay, treaties and conventions. Okay, so here tell me here, is it a plain statement or not plain statement? UNCNC is legally binding. Again, it will become a very plain statement. Plain, now it is a convention. Convention are binding. Convention are bind. Don't worry about this first ever. Okay, don't worry about this. This I'll tell you later. Just tell me if they give you convention and they're giving legally binding. Is it plain or not plain? Definitely they become plain. Okay? So simple logic you apply. Don't get confused. Simple, for example, in the question treaty is there. Binding will become plain or not plain? Tell me. In the question treaty is there. Binding will become plain or not plain? Definitely it will become plain. And in the question just framework is there. Just framework. Binding will become not plain. So this is how you need to understand the exam. This is how you read the questions. This is how you read the current affairs. This is how you need to prepare yourself for the exam as well. So again, here there are certain not plain statements, there are certain plain statements. In this, identify which is a plain statement, relatively plain. Again, this relative concept I will teach you in the class because this is very important to understand what is relatively plain. So in this, which is relatively plain? Where there are less facts, where there are less flags, where there is less numericals, whereas there is in that way. Okay, so less facts are there basically here. Database created by a coalition of research organizations. They did not give you a particular organization as such. They are just saying coalition of research organizations. So relatively this will become more plain than other statements. So in that way also you can try to answer some of the questions which if you do not have much knowledge in the exam. Now some examples or keywords of plain, let us see. Some plain keywords I'll teach you now. So one of the is generally plain keyword. Reduce is generally plain keyword. Sum is generally plain keyword. What are middle statements? This is a very important concept. Again, this I'll teach you in the class. Next, rest keywords will be taught in the class. So I'll give you some just examples of what are one of the. Okay. For example, here Switzerland is one of the leading exports. What is the statement? When you see this keyword, as such, there is no other factual content also in this. Okay, is there any factual content? No, just it is saying one of the. So one of the becomes automatically plain. Now tell me in this Switzerland is one of the carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread. Again, this is also in 2023. Carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tools in fighting. Again, this will become plain statement. Vietnam has been one of the fastest growing economies. One of the fastest growing. What will this statement be? Again, this is a 2022 statement. This also will become plain. Somnath temple is one of the Jyotirlinga. Again, what will it become? It will become plain. So these type of keywords will be there, which I'll be teaching you in the class. Based on these keywords, you can answer a lot of questions in the exam. Okay. Again, in 2023, this some students, I think last year you have attended. Tell me, did I tell you this last year itself, 2022? I think we have taken an example also, and I taught you in the class. And this is a 2023 question. So what will be the answer of this question? Simply the answer will be 4. This last year itself, using an example I taught in the class. And how many seconds can you answer this question? Just in less than 10 seconds you will answer. And this thinking, if you are applying whatever I'm teaching you, the most important aspect of this class will be time management. And with this thinking, you will not waste much time in the exam in overthinking on these things. Some students, what they do is they start overthinking on some of these things. And what will happen, most important, it's not that you'll get minus 2.6. It's not important at all. What is more important in this question? Time. You are losing time. You're overthinking on these questions and you are losing time. If you lose time, what will happen? It is going to impact on the other questions. But if you think like examiner, easily in seconds you will be able to answer some of the questions, especially questions like this. For example, this is also a 2023 question. What is the answer? Some microorganisms, some microorganisms then grow. What will be the answer of this question? Again, the answer will be 3. Again, here also, these are called plain statements. Again, I'll give you some examples in the class as well. Okay. So in 2023 itself, see how many sum statements are there. Apart from these two questions, this is also a 2023 statement. Many local companies and some foreign companies operating in India have been advantage. Again, here it is a plain or not plain? Plain. Again, here to prevent infiltration on the international borders, the border wings home guards battalions have been raised in some states. What will happen to this statement? It is also a 2023 statement. It is again plain statement. Some tribal people in India use Niger seed oil for cooking. What will happen to this statement again? It is a plain statement. Okay, so this is how if you understand the plain keywords, you are going to answer a lot of questions in the exam. Okay, like reduce, like some, like one of the, and there is some concept called middle statement, which is very important because I have seen students just by seeing some negative words, they are trying to eliminate the statements. Do not do that in the exam. Okay, it is not just about keywords, it is about understanding the statement. For example, in the second statement, dependence on antibiotics that are not effective against drug resistant bacteria can be reduced. Okay, what is the importance of this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine? The importance is dependence on antibiotics that are not effective against drug resistant bacteria can be reduced. Now, some students not effective, they are seeing and they are just directly eliminating it. They are saying that this is an extreme statement. No, we call these statements as middle statements. They are not extreme statements. You draw a line, you will only understand, is it talking about the extremes or it is talking somewhere in between. Okay, somewhere in between, generally they are plain statements. If they talk about extreme, then only become extreme statements. For example, here see, dependence is reduced. That is what this statement says. Now tell me, if they are using reduced word, do you feel it is extreme or it is somewhere in the middle? Dependence on antibiotics that are not effective against drug resistant bacteria can be reduced. Okay, so these are called middle statements, and this concept also I'll be trying to teach you in the class. So this is not easy as such, but yeah, I'll give you a lot of examples to understand middle statements, and if you understand them, some of the statements easily you can mark them plain or not plain. Okay, now let's most important, this question many students have asked me. Again, I'm teaching you these things. Fine, now you understand plain, you understand not plain, but most important for the exam is priority. If you do not understand this word, again, even if you sometimes know what are plain, what are not plain, sometimes you are unable to answer the question because you are not understanding priority. If you do not understand priority, it is not easy in the exam. So I'll help you with this as well. How to prioritize things, which statements to eliminate first, or which statement to select first. If you understand this, definitely a lot of questions. Again, this 50-50 probability questions are there, right? Especially there, you are going to use this priority thing, which I'll explain in the class. I'll give you just a few examples here. In this, for example, there are a lot of not plain statements, there are a lot of plain statements. But still, how to approach this question? I'll tell you simple approach, most important approach for any question will be, first look for, are there any very plain statements? Are there any very plain statements which you can feel that they are very plain, clear? That statements you have to find. Tell me in this, which are very plain statements? So very plain statements are very good. Some Indian companies are members of EP100. Some Indian companies, I told you these are very, very plain statements. So 4 has to be there in the answer. Okay, I'll eliminate this one. Next, which is the most plain? After 4, which is the most plain? EP100 brings together leading companies committed to bring innovation in energy efficiency and increase one. There is no as such any negative keyword. There are no very factual things in that. Okay. So definitely it is more bookish or more verbatim or more plain. So 3 and 4 has to be there in the answer. So 3 and 4 are here and here as well. Now tell me, are there any not plain statements in the question? Are there any not plain statements in the question? Yes, yes or no? Just give me yes or no. Don't give me the numbers. Numbers are not required. Just tell me, are there any not plain statements in the question? Fine. Then can I say one thing? When there are not plain statements, will the answer be all? When there are not plain statements in the question, will the answer be all? Just remember, the answer cannot be all when there are clear not plain statements in the question. So first thing you will eliminate is this one. Okay. Now, really tell me, do I need to think about the content of these questions? In this question, do I really need to think about the content of these questions? Not at all. I don't have to even think about these questions because I will handle this question just by plain statements. And just by thinking that, yes, there are certain not plain statements, then answer cannot be all. I don't have to know the content of second. I don't have to know the content of fifth statement at all in this question. So this is the priority you need to set in some of the questions. You need to think which are more plain statements. For example, this is also a very difficult question in the exam. Do you accept that? Like it was first endorsed in United Nations. If you do not have knowledge, this is definitely a very difficult question. But again, I'll tell you, this is the most easiest question to answer using plain statements. Tell me again, which is the most plain? Which is the most plain? Most plain. No, one of the is there, but I told you here there is some inception. This I'll tell you later in the class. Okay, what is this inception type of words? I'll teach you later. Okay, one of the is there, but some factual thing is there. This is called factual things. This factual things I will explain in the class. See, one more example I'll give you. One of the is directly not right if there are some factual things. 1 second. See here, one of the standard is there. You cannot say one of the directly will be right here because here one factual thing is there. So factual you need to deal first. Okay. That anyways you will get in the class. You will understand that in the class. Don't worry. So fine. Which is more plain? I'm asking. Leave this. Which is more plain? It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forests. This is a very, very plain aim statement. It is endorsed by governments, big companies, and indigenous communities. This is also becomes very, very, very plain. Okay, because it here again there are no as such institutions or some like World Bank. They did not mention anything like that, like World Resource Institute or World Bank or IUCN. They did not mention like UNEP. They did not do that. They are just mentioning it is endorsed by governments, big companies, and indigenous communities. Okay. So in this also becomes plain, and here also this also becomes a bit plain. So now tell me, can I say in the question 2 and 4 must be there? Can I say that? If you understand plain statements, can I say 2 and 4 must be there? Now tell me, do I need to think about statement 1 at all here? I have to just look for 2 and 4. Okay, 2 and 4 is here. I'll just mark 2 and 4 and leave the question because I know that plain statements are mostly right in this exam. Okay, what about this inception and all? I'll teach you later in the class. Okay, in the 5 classes are there, right? So how to handle that inception word, I'll teach you. Now again here also alliance is there. Membership of this does not create. Now what happened? Again, students only focusing on words, what they will do is they are going to eliminate this. Can I say that? If you are only dependent on words, are you going to eliminate this? Like does not is an extreme word. That is the reason you are eliminating. Again, do not do that. Alliance. If alliance is given, what is the statement? Plain or not plain? If alliance is given, what is the statement? Plain or not plain? Definitely, this is a plain statement. Why? Alliance is binding or not binding? Alliance is not binding. Simple. Okay, so this is how you try to answer the questions. Okay, what is this instrumental keyword? I'll teach you in the class. Instrumental, inception, these type of keywords I'll teach you in the class. Now coming to the most important thing, how many of the above are correct? How many of the above are correct? This is what I think you are afraid of in the exam, because you think you are thinking that this is a new pattern or something. But again, I'll teach you how to handle these things also in the class. Okay, so for now, I'll teach you few important things. But if you do not understand, you try to attend the class, you will definitely understand. Again, do not fear these questions at all. You do not have to fear this question. There are certain ways to answer this. How many of the above are correct as well? Okay. For example, I'll give you some demonstration here. Tell me in these three statements, which are asking almost similar content, which are trying to ask you almost similar content. Means, for example, here Saviravardins belong to this sect, Lokataravardin belongs to a particular sect. Okay. So here 1 and 2 is basically focusing on particular sects. It says that, yeah, this is belong to this sect or this belong to this Mahasangika sect. So always remember, in these type of questions, UPSC examiner mindset is one right, one wrong mindset is always there. When they give you these type of similar content they are trying to ask, whenever similar content they are trying to ask, mostly the mindset is one right, one wrong. And I will remove which, then can I say, if I ask you how many, is this question very easy? I don't have to know is one wrong or two wrong. I just have to know at least one is wrong in this both. Okay. For example, let us say this is plain statement. Now, what will be the answer if I ask you how many? Let us say third statement is plain statement, and in this at least one is wrong. Then what will be the answer? How many statements given above are correct? Two statements are correct. Because again, do you have to know exactly which is wrong in 1 and 2? Definitely not required. I'll give you one more example also. It will become easy for you. Again, tell me here which two statements are almost similar. Okay. Again, 1 and 2. So again, what will be the principle here? What will be the principle you will apply? One right, one wrong principle. Again, you have to know which one is right or wrong. If I ask how many, again, not required, because this statement I think most of the students were able to handle in the exam, but these two statements you were not able to handle. Again, the answer will become only two. Again, you don't have to know if I ask how many. Let us say one more example also I'll give you from history. Now tell me here which statement are asking mostly similar type of question. It was during the reign of Iltutmish reached the Indus, and Devaraya to Vasco da Gama reached the coast of Kerala. Okay, so can I say 1 and 3 are almost similar? 1 and 3 are almost similar. Now tell me, can I say if 1 and 3 are similar, and here also it is almost like a not plain statement, because this is also content, mostly content. It was during Muhammad bin Tughlaq that Timur occupied Multan and crossed the Indus and all. So it is also kind of not plain. So what will be the answer of this question? If one in 1 and 3 only one is right, and this is a not plain statement, then the answer will be one only. One only. So this is how things are going to help you in the exam. Again, here also mandables will not lie against a private, mandables will not lie against a company. Again, can I say that? What is the principle? One right, one wrong. So do not worry about how many type of statements. You are definitely going to handle them in the exam. Okay. So here also the same thing you apply in 3 and 4. One right, one wrong. Don't go by content. By going by content, because in this question you don't have content. So what I'm trying to apply, you just apply and get to the answer. That's it. One right, one wrong here. And in this also, both are not plain. Again, you can apply one right, one wrong. So what will be the most possible answer of this question? The answer will be only 2. So now many students asked me, sir, why only 2 is the best option? So again, I'll tell you that in the class. Okay, why you need to go with only 2 in many questions, like pair questions are there. Okay, pair questions they are asking you, right? How many of the pairs are right? In that also, why you need to go for only 2 in some of the questions, that I will deal in the class. Okay, so why only 2 option is important? Why last year I told you? I think many students it has helped you a lot. When last year I told you it's best option in such cases is only 2, and I think many students have applied that option in the exam last year. So that anyways, I'll discuss in the class. Why you need to opt for only 2 in pair questions, and some of the questions why you need to go for only 2. That I'll discuss in the class. Anyways, here again, tell me which 2 statements are almost they're asking same content. Very good. Which 2 statements are asking? 2 and 3. Again, can I say one right, one wrong? One right, one wrong principle also you can apply. Again, if they ask you how many, this question will become the easiest question in the exam. So what will be the answer if I ask how many? One of the founding members. The answer will become 2 only. So this is how you will handle the new pattern in the exam. Okay. Next, again, here also Somnath temple is given by some person, and here also it is done by some person. Okay, so here also again one right, one wrong you will apply, and if they ask you how many, easily you can answer in the exam. So in this way, I'll give you a lot of examples how to handle how many and how to prioritize things like plain and not plain. Now let us move to some broad and narrow thinking, which is also very important in the exam. Some questions directly by seeing you can say, okay, you will not go for all in such questions. For example, in this question, according to India's national policy on biofuels is given. For example, let us say I will remove this. I'll remove this. Okay, according to India's national biofuels, I'll remove this. What will be the answer of this question? Which of the following can be used for raw materials for production of biofuels? I'm not giving you according to India's national policy. I'm just removing it. Okay, I'm just giving you which of the following can be used as raw materials for production of biofuels. What happens to this question? This question will become broad if I am not giving you this statement. Now tell me, if I am including this, what will be this question? Broad or narrow? Will the question be broad or narrow? And if you understand this concept, broad and narrow, definitely you are going to answer a lot of questions in the exam. Again, this will become a narrow question. Do not go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in these questions. Rest how to answer, we will see later. Next, here also, this question is about MSP. Particularly, they are asking you MSP crops. How many MSP crops are there? Is it fixed? MSP crops? Okay. Yes, they're fixed, like 23 or 22 MSP crops are there. Now again, will you go with broad thinking or will you go with narrow thinking? Definitely you have to go with bit narrow thinking, because they are going to definitely include some alternate options there. Fine, that's fine. Now tell me here, green hydrogen. Green hydrogen, again, is it broad or narrow here? Green hydrogen, because it's a technology. Technology is always broad, unless they give you some very opposite things. For example, I will replace this green hydrogen with drones. Okay, and I will give you some options. I'll say anything I want, I'll say. But still, what should be your mindset? If I give drones, broad or narrow? again you have to think broad. So technology wise, always think broad. For example, here accelerometer is there. Accelerometer is there. Broad or narrow? Again, this is a technology question. Will you think broad or will you think narrow? So this is very important concept. Thinking broad, thinking narrow, and accordingly answering the question. This also I will be teaching you in the class. Now this question, many students eliminated actually fundamental duties in this question when I spoke to them at that time. But again, that thinking is not good. Why? I'll tell you. First of all, just tell me, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, are they very broad concept or narrow concept? Universal Declaration of Human Rights, are they very broad concept or narrow concept? Okay, definitely they are very, 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 very broad concept. Okay, first thing. Second, the question keyword is reflect. Is reflect a broad keyword or narrow keyword? Reflect. Reflect means, see, something, even can I say 0.1% also it reflects. Is it reflect? Okay, like influence, reflect, or for example, let us say relevance or bearing. What are these words? Relevance or bearing? Are they broad or narrow? Bearing, relevance, again, these are also broad. Even 1% relevance is there, even 1% bearing is there, they become broad. So can I say this question is a broad question? And I just answer all in this question because I don't want to waste time. I want to save time for next questions. Again, in this question also, students wasted almost 2 to 3 minutes, and that 2 3 minutes could be crucial in the exam. Do not overthink, and this is how you will stop overthinking in the exam. If you learn the words, if you learn the concepts, like okay, broad question, narrow question, based on that, you are going to reduce your time in the exam, and that is also the main purpose of this course, to help you manage your time. And here also, for example, relevance and bearing. And what will be the most possible answer of this question? Most possible answer will be again all. Okay. So these are some concepts. Apart from these concepts, I'll be teaching you some random deductions also, because not everything we can answer just by state, because sometimes they're not giving statements, they're giving you ABCD questions. Okay, they'll just give you ABCD statements in this way. So you have to choose one of them. And here probability is very, very, very less, right? Okay, you don't know anything, the probability is just 25%. In fact, can I say in the exam, statement questions are very easy compared to these type of questions? Okay, because these questions are very difficult to answer in the exam because they have only one answer, there are no statements, and it becomes very difficult to select one of the options in this type of question. But in these questions, we are going to use kind of random deductions, and how like question keywords we'll try to use. We will try to use areas of focus, and we'll also see the placement of the question. This has become very, very important. For example, this question is placed above ancient India question. Ancient India caves question they asked you. Tell me then what will be the most possible answer of this question? If this question is placed above ancient India, what will be the most possible answer of this question? The most possible answer will be A, and this is a 2023 question. So just by placement also, sometimes you can get the answer. So this also we will see some examples are there in previous year questions. I'll teach you that. And by placement also you can answer some of the questions in the exam. Means the question is placed in which topic. If you know that, you will be able to answer this question. This question has been placed above ancient India topic. Like caves topic is there, right? What is the cave question asked in the exam? Any idea? Anyone? Ancient India, from ancient India, they asked you some caves question. Sitansal caves. Sitansal caves, they have asked you. Baga caves, they asked you. Basically, that's a ancient India topic. Okay, so above that, this question is there. So mostly you have to relate something to ancient India kind of thing. Okay, so with that, if you go, mostly the answer could be archaeology. Again, yes, this may not work sometimes, this may work sometimes, but rather than going by blind guess in these questions, you better take calculated guess in this type of questions. Okay, so now some keyword based also we can do, and some areas of focus. For example, let us say areas of focus. Can I say every year genetics question will come in the exam? Every year one genetics question will definitely come in the exam. Okay, so more or less this is a genetics question. Some idea what we have is genomics. Genomics is basically what is genomics? Genomics is study of genes. Simple. Okay, again you don't have to overthink much there. Genomics is study of genes. That's it. Okay, this is more than enough to answer this question. So study of genes means study of DNA or genes. So which options are talking directly about this DNA or gene? Which two options you have these words? Gene and DNA. Okay, you can see here DNA samples and genetic makeup. Rest there are no as such any DNA words. Now tell me, aerial word is given. Aerial word. So will you go with air or will you go with avian? And there is meta also. There is meta. Now these three words have to match, and which option they match more, that will be your answer. Now you only select. The aerial has to match, meta also has to match, genomics also has to match. Meta means what? Meta means lot of more. Meta, can I say meta means more or lot of things, grand. Okay, multiple, very good. So that is what you have to look for. So meta keyword also has to match, aerial keyword has to match, genomics keyword also has to match. That will be your answer. Here you see collecting DNA samples from air inhabited one go. At one go. At one go, can I say meta is matching with one go? At one go keyword is also there. So try to match more keywords and then the answer will be that. Okay, so collecting DNA samples from air inhabited at one go will be your aerial metagenomics. So this is how you try to answer the questions. And anyways, in last year class, I have taught this metagenomics in the class itself. Okay, why I taught, I will discuss that also. Like why we guessed some questions in UPSC and how did I guess these questions? Again, this is also part of examiner mindset. Why we spend lot of time on these things, on searching genetic topics. Why did I do? I did it because we know that one genetics question will come. So what we did is just in Google we type okay Wikipedia and genetics, and whatever keywords, new keywords are there on genetics, we try to cover them. And with this, what will happen? At least one genetic question. I try to cover a lot of things. In that, there are chances that one question may be asked. And same thing I want you to do as well. For example, let us say one bio question is being asked in an exam more or less every year. Can I say that? The bio keyword is there more or less every year. Bio asphalt, bio filters, bio gasification, bio remediation. So don't you think, can you spend at least 1 or 2 hours just searching for some bio important words recently? Like biosensors is there recently, bioplastics is there. So don't you think biosensors or bioplastics can be asked in the exam in 2024? What are the chances that biosensors or bioplastics can be asked in 2024? What is the probability? The probability is very high. So this is how you read for the exam, for UPSC or any exam. You have to first decide what question is going to come in the exam. There are 100 questions in UPSC. You start fixing all these questions. Like for example, let us say last year I said one Government of India or Charter Act question will come in the exam. Is there any question in 2023? Government of India Charter Act? Definitely there is a question. You just see in 2023 there is a question. Okay. Next, I said some genetics question will come. Genetics question is already we guessed that question and that was asked. I said caves question will come. Caves question was asked. Then you have to fix this 100 things. Even in current affairs also, you need to fix this things. Okay, what type of current affairs will be asked? Port question also I said, yes, one port question last year. And in fact, I taught that exact port in the class as well. And in current affairs also, we try to deal with alliance, coalitions, partnerships, frameworks. And in 2024, can I say which framework question will be asked in 2024? Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. And what statement will also come, you need to guess. That is how you need to read for this exam. It is not just that, okay, you guess this question. No, you need to guess the statement as well. What statement they are going to ask you in the exam. So this understanding, if you have about the exam, definitely you will excel in the exam. For example, see, recently we covered in the current affairs Global River Cities Alliance. It was asked in recent some APPSC exam. Okay, we covered Global Fuels Alliance. Again, it is asked in recent APPSC exam. Okay, all these are from our current affairs. And why did I cover? It is not that some magic is there. No, it is simply we follow some words. Okay, last year, I'll show you one simple demonstration. See, these are some students who got selected last year. For example, see, Pumpuhar, is this question asked in the exam? See here, with reference to ancient South India, Korkai, Pumpuar, and Muchiri were well known as. Exactly, only one slide I have given on port, and exactly we have given Pumpuar port in the class. Why did we do that? Again, same thing. Ports are important, and we look for the Hindu, Indian Express, and all. In that, any port is there, we try to cover in the class. And exactly this question was asked in the exam. Similarly, MSP also have given, because why? MSP is a very, very important topic. And in 2024, don't you think MSP question will again come? I will say 95% probability is there that MSP question will come. Do you agree with that? Now what you have to do? Now your work is very simple. Sit just for 1 hour. You will definitely be able to answer MSP question in the exam. So fix these things. Don't go behind all the current affairs. Don't go behind all the material outside in the market. Try to fix the things. Okay, this MSP concept definitely it is coming. I will read MSP. Ports, they are coming in the exam. I will read ports. Caves, they are being asked. I will read caves. Any new amendments are there? Last year we covered this amendment, because amendments are very, very important for UPSC. Any new amendment is there, they are going to ask. Last year flag code amendment is there, they have asked. In that way, amendments are there, they are going to ask. See, in this question, clearly this amendment we have covered in a slide, and they asked you this question: titanium bearing minerals and ores. If you see here, ilmenite, rutile, abundantly available in certain coastal tracts of India, are right sources of which one of the following? The answer is titanium, and it has been covered in the class. Why? Again, simple. Amendments are important. And one important topic is mines and minerals. So mines and minerals, whatever are there, you have to read for the exam. And see here, largest also, we try to search all the largest keywords in the recent newspapers. So here we have clearly covered Democratic Republic of Congo is the largest producer and exporter of the cobalt in the world. So this is how you also need to say. I'm not asking you to join or something, but I'm giving you some advice for this exam. Don't go behind lot of content. Fix your things. You want to read largest? Yeah, only go for search for largest word in the recent newspapers. You just type in the Google, you will get largest the Hindu, largest the Indian Express, or some topics you can search and find out. Easily you will get recent topics. So in that way, we have covered a lot of things here. For example, metagenomics also. Why did I cover? I already told you. Genomics or genetics is important. Simply what I have done, I've just searched Wikipedia. I have gone through all the genomic or genetic keywords, and I found out that this question has not been asked in the exam. That is the reason I have given in the current affairs. And this question was asked in 2023. So this I think you can also do. Okay, this easily you can do. You can just search for some important keywords and you will be able to guess some of the questions in the exam. So this year also we have done that, and we are covering them in our classes. But yes, in this course, I may not be able to cover everything, but in the course, I will at least tell you some keywords, how to search, on what keywords you need to focus, and I will also give you areas of focus in the class. This is what I can do, part of this elimination techniques. So finally, do you think what you read will definitely be asked in the exam? See, what you read is this one. What you read is this thing. And what is asked in the exam is this much. Can I say that? You are reading 75% of the things, and what is being asked from that 75, I'll say it is 25% they are asking. But what about the rest of the 75? How are you going to deal with that? Okay, so this is where we are going to help you. Okay, and how to deal with that pair questions and all, how, why only two you have to opt for in some of the questions, I'll tell you that in the class. Okay, so then how are you planning to deal with it? Again, coming to the quote, strategy is born when a calculated risk meets an educated guess, and this is where you have to work. You work on your strategy, you will clear this exam. And for this strategy, I'm going to help you with this course. Okay, so this is the schedule. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. 5 classes I will take. I will explain all the concepts in the 5 classes, and I will give you some 5 tests also to practice. If you do not practice, it's not at all easy to answer in the exam. You can ask our students itself who are attending today's class also. If you do not practice, you will not be able to apply these things in the exam, because these are not easy things. I explained it, it will be easy. If you practice only, you will get it. Okay. Some of our students are already attending today's class. They are practicing from almost past 3-4 months also. Still, there will be some problems. Okay. Slowly, they are learning. So you also need to practice. If you do not practice, it is not that easy. So now coming to classes, I will start from March 7th, 11 a.m. Okay, morning the classes will be there. Continuous classes will be there for 5 days. Okay, there will be no break. I'll start on March 7th, complete on 11th. Okay, March 11th will complete. So 5 days I will take the class. If you want to join the course, and again, it's not that you have to definitely join, but yes, if you feel that this is going to definitely help you, you can contact me on this number. This is my Telegram number, 7838440386. Else, simply you just type Umbrella Academy in Google. You will get Umbrella IS Academy, not just Umbrella Academy. Umbrella Academy, if you type, you will get some series in Netflix. Okay, so just type Umbrella IS Academy. The Umbrella IS Academy, if you type, see like this. If you type Umbrella IS Academy, the first thing you will see Umbrella Academy. So you can type on this, and you can just click on this program. Okay, these are some of our selected students. Yes, this program you can select and you can enroll from here. So, or if you want to contact me, you contact me directly through this number, or you can contact Bright Sir as well. Okay, this is Bright Sir's number. I'll just type my number in the chat. You can copy. Okay, so this is my number. You can message me. Classes will start from. Thanks. Thank you. In APPSC, in TSPSC, all this thinking is going to work. Again, I'm not saying it is very perfect in APPSC or UPSC, but overall, if you learn this mindset, definitely it is going to work for your APPSC Group 1 or TSPSC Group 1 or UPSC. Okay, but learn that thinking. It's not that easy. You have to practice a lot and learn that thinking. Definitely, it is going to help you in some way in the exam. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you.